Morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV. And can I confirm that everything is working on Facebook? Everything is working on YouTube today. Come on. Troubleshooting works. Until it doesn't. And it probably won't work tomorrow. But look, good morning to everybody. 1st of May, new month. Not that much exciting stuff to really talk about when it comes to Manchester United. We've got 4 games left this season in the league. We've got 5 overall because we've got the FA Cup final. We'll speak about that much further down the line. Today, I want to focus on INEOS, Ratcliffe, the Glazers, and the continuing changes that are happening at Manchester United, because Ratcliffe and INEOS might only own 27% of the voting rights at this club. But I'm telling you, they're in more control than I think anybody is giving them credit for. Who's here from the member gang? Who's here on Facebook? Good morning to all of you. We're going to run through all of it. We're going to speak about, what else we've got to talk about? Basically, the whole statement last night. We'll speak about Bruno Fernandes in an interview that's going around and people are sort of, he's saying he's going to leave the club. No, I don't think he's saying that. But I'll run through that. We'll speak about Mason Greenwood. We'll speak about Marcus Rashford. We'll speak about anything else you want to speak about. As always, you fire in your comments and questions. Good morning to everyone. Who's here from the member gang? Josh, nice to see you again. We got Alex Mods. We've got Gungshi. As always, how you doing, dude? And I saw you there as well. T, I saw you at the start of the show. Who else we got there? Can't see any other names. Gungshi kicking it off. It is indeed a good morning. It is a good morning. The Gongshi strikes again. Where is he?
Good morning. Good morning. Good
My sounds weren't playing.
Hello.
Last couple of days, my sounds weren't playing in my not in my headphones, but playing on my speakers. But I heard that now. It still cracks me up. Who's here on Facebook? Good morning to you, Shane Wheeler. Good morning to everyone on Facebook. Apologies for the last few days. I had no idea. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on. I've restarted it all, reconnected, done all the good stuff, and it's working now. Mal, Tim, got Matt Frost, Onyi. How you doing, man? Musa, Matt. You can stay on Facebook this time. And can I say, to kick off the show, ladies and gents, we're nearly there. As a community, we've nearly reached 400,000 subscribers. So if you are new in town, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can do this live on the show together. I don't know whether we'll get 180 in a show, but why not? I'll do a giveaway. We'll give away not one of these two because they're mine. You can't have them. But we'll give away a Stan Chow big poster if we can reach 400,000 here. So if you are new, make sure you subscribe. That'll be fun to do live together on the show. Oh my, geez, wow. I've got to get the news started, everybody. Never mind. It's Barry time. Because Miles, well, let's not ignore these. Alex, you gifted 5 memberships. Brosif, you gifted 5 memberships. But then Miles came from the top rope. And he gifted 50. We're going to have a little pause before we get into the news.
5,
Going to have a little message
3,
from our good
2,
friend.
1.
Here comes Barry.
I'm a massive fan of United People's TV. And yes,
Come on, Barry.
once again, we have had somebody gift 50 memberships to others. Okay? They have gifted 50 memberships to others. You know who you are. It's a massive show of generosity. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for being such a giver, really. And we can't thank you enough. And, you know, I bet someone said to you, you don't have to do that. But you said,
Can do it anyway. I am funny sometimes. I really am. Only occasionally. Miles? Was it Miles? I think it was Miles. Make sure I get, yeah. Miles, thank you so much, dude. Everybody, thank you so much for what this community sort of means to everybody. And I can't wait until we reach 400k and then see where we go from there onwards. But let's get into the show. That was a little bit of rolling the sleeves up. A little bit of a delay, but worthy of a delay. Now, there's a couple of things I want to speak about before I get into that club statement. These INEOS changes, what do they mean? What actual changes are happening? And that's probably a question you're going to be asking. And I'm going to explain that. Leon, you're saying, what exactly is INEOS in more in control of? I'd explain it all. Anyway, starting off with this. Kieran McKenna, man. Anybody who is big followers of the EFL, has there ever been, there may well have been, by the way, has there ever been a manager who's gone down to League One and managed consecutive back-to-back promotions from League One to the Championship to the Premier League in his first 2 seasons at the club? I'm pretty sure, was it Nigel Atkins? It might have been Nigel Atkins. I think somebody did it with Southampton, and I think it was Nigel Atkins. But Kieran McKenna, they beat Coventry last night. By the way, Coventry Stadium was half empty. They must all still be in Wembley. Anyway, 1 point away from an automatic promotion. When he joined Ipswich, they were 12th in League One. One promotion that season. Following season, to step up into the Championship and to continue delivering is incredible. And beating Coventry last night means they only need 1 point from their last game of the season against Huddersfield, who I think are like down in 19th, 20th. And they've got automatic promotion. Don't even have to go into the playoffs. Man, incredible. Incredible from Kieran McKenna. Incredible from this community. Danny, you gift him 5 memberships as well. Casemiro, you are getting the biggest run out this season.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
I need to make sure. I wish I could have like, so I press the button and there's like 4 or 5 different variants. And then it kind of changes every time. I think that's what I need to figure out if I can do. That would be a good little one. Because then it's nice and it keeps you on your toes. But anyway, Kieran McKenna, incredible. And then look at this as well. Porridge, you're saying Paul Lambert achieved back-to-back promotions with Norwich. But did he do it in his first 2 seasons is the question that I'm asking. Anyway, actually, no, one thing before I speak about Ralph Rangnick. It just goes to show you just Kieran McKenna, and we've spoken about this before, and I'll probably do it again. Kieran McKenna was absolutely slagged and slated, and just so many United fans just wanted booted out. Oh, he's got absolutely no credibility. He had credibility at Spurs when he was there. I think he was the academy under-18s there. Came to United's under-18s, won the league, won the National League with the under-18s. Then he was drafted in, kind of pushed into it really when Rui Faria left. Kieran McKenna was promoted by Mourinho to become the assistant manager. And then, of course, it all went wrong under Solskjaer. And McKenna's got no credibility whatsoever. He's found his level. Well, he's found his level in League One, won the title. He's found his level in League Two and is going to get automatic promotion. Every level he's done now, he's matched. Of course, what happens if or when Ipswich come into the Premier League next season? The big step up. It depends if they get investment. It depends if they get the right signings. But just incredible from Kieran McKenna. Really is. And isn't this a turnout for the books? Again, somebody who was slagged and slated at Manchester United. He's got absolutely no credibility, nothing whatsoever. And one of the 5 biggest clubs in the world are now going to be hiring Ralph Rangnick again after a very impressive spell at Austria. It's only international football. It's only this. It's only that. Rangnick, I can't do this. Rangnick can't do that. But he's going to become Bayern Munich manager. So that's an assistant manager that everybody said he's got nothing, absolutely nothing in football. And he's gone to win the title in League One and promotion in the Championship in 2 consecutive seasons. And I believe the first person to ever do that. And then Ralph Rangnick has taken Austria to the Euros comfortably. And now he's going to be stepping in as Bayern Munich manager. I mean, Ralph Rangnick was never a manager for us. Ralph Rangnick, the reason I was always excited about Ralph Rangnick was because he might well move upstairs, actually go into a role, help modernise the club, but then he got that cut off. I would love Rangnick to go there and nail it. I don't know whether he's got the ability or the sort of the energy that will be required as Bayern Munich manager to overcome Xabi Alonso and Leverkusen, who are right at the start of his career, and they've just got this exciting energy in their team. Rangnick's going to have to go in and kind of go in sort of the opposite approach, like the really experienced, methodical sort of role, rather than somebody who's just not vibing off the energy. But it's going to be interesting to see how Ralph Rangnick does, and I'd say congratulations to him, man. And I hope he nails it at the Euros as well. What was the name of our friend? I can't remember him. The German guy from Leipzig. Began with G. What was it? Damn it. I always wanted to get drunk with him. I thought it'd be a really good night out. It wasn't Guido. There's Gangshi. There he is. Guido, man. I need to go to Leipzig and just get drunk with Guido. I'm not sure I'll come back, I'll be honest. Might just get traffic somewhere. I don't think I would. But Guido was a legend, man. I had so many good conversations with that dude. He was funny as hell. And he always had quite close links to Ralf Rangnick. So you would presume he's going to have close links to whatever's going on here. Or maybe it was only because of his time in Leipzig. Guido Schaefer, he was a don. He really, really was a don. But look, first 10 minutes of the show, that's all the news around the club. I now want to speak about the news at the club. And yeah, and he would do it. If I tried to go toe-to-toe with Guido in drinking, I'd end up in a puddle of everything that you shouldn't be in a puddle of. Right. Let's talk about this. Man United last night, 9:15, sitting there watching the Champions League, trying to relax. Of course not. The amount of time, I was thinking about this last night. I said to Susie, I said, how much of my day do you think I think or speak about football? Like, my whole life is football. Like, I love it. Anyway, Man United last night, 9:15, just decided to announce more changes to the executive leadership at our club. And I want to explain to you why both of these are significant in different ways. Right? This is what the statement said. Manchester United has made 2 further changes to its executive leadership. By mutual consent, Patrick Stewart, who was the interim CEO, and Cliff Beattie, who is the chief financial officer, have decided to leave the club. And Jean-Claude Blanc is now going to be our CEO until Omar Barada comes in, and we've got a confirmed date, right? So Omar Barada is going to be joining the day after the Euros end. Presumably that's like just chosen on purpose, right? But the day after the Euros end, he's coming in. Don't care about the statements, right? I care about what this means. For me, this is quite significant. And let's start with the Patrick Stewart one. So what I'm going to do, my lunchtime video today, honestly, and I swear on my life, I'm not just saying this as, I'm not overhyping it. I'm not just finding a positive angle and jumping into it with both feet. Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS really are, like, in front of our eyes, kind of completing the full takeover of control. Bear in mind that they only came in on the premise of controlling footballing operations. That is not the case anymore, right? And this Patrick Stewart one, let's begin with this, because this is interesting. So this was a statement that was released in November, right? Richard Arnold stepping down and Patrick Stewart taking over as interim CEO. Yet now, despite the fact that he came in as an interim, despite the fact that we have got our new CEO, and despite the fact that we know he's coming in on the 13th of July, Patrick Stewart is gone. So something has changed. What has changed? I mean, you can only speculate on that. But something has changed to the point where INEOS didn't want Patrick Stewart as the interim CEO anymore. And Jean-Claude Blanc is in. Now, something that's happening today, which is going to be interesting. I wonder if we're going to be getting more information about this in the coming days. Athletic normally have good access to this, so maybe. But Man United staff were informed on Tuesday of an all-company meeting scheduled for today, where Ratcliffe and Blanc will be present, and plans for the next step in INEOS's restructure would be revealed. Now, I don't know what those next steps would be. There's a lot more detail that I'm going to be saving for my lunchtime video because there's too much to get across inside a live show here. But you've got Colette Roche, who's a chief operating officer. There's other kind of high-ranking positions that are still held by people who maybe have some sort of allegiance towards the Glazers. But in removing Patrick Stewart, who's been chief legal counsel at United, I think since like 2006, before he then got promoted to become the interim CEO. And then you've got Cliff Beattie. Now, this Cliff Beattie one I would probably say out of the two, this is the more significant one, right? That one right there. Being replaced as Chief Financial Officer by Roger Bell. Now, Roger Bell, he was CFO at INEOS, so the Chief Financial Officer at INEOS, right there. And he worked there for, look, 24 years. But interestingly enough, you go on his LinkedIn. So he's retired from INEOS. 5 months ago, he retired from INEOS. Now time for a change in direction. Now that change in direction is that he is now Manchester United's new Chief Financial Officer. And the reason that's a big one is this, right? I mean, I think you already know the reason that's big. But Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS were brought into the club to control the football operations. And we were all excited at that. Of course, it was a beginning. There was a lot more that was needed, but that was the beginning. Right there, you've got a man who was the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer at INEOS for 20 plus years. He had worked with INEOS for 40 plus years. He is now the Chief Financial Officer at Manchester United. INEOS have placed the Chief Financial Officer. Now, that tells you a couple of things. Firstly, the Glazers are giving up more power than I think any of us thought by this point. Especially, it makes no sense. It really makes no sense for somebody with 27.7% of the voting power to have as much actual power as Ratcliffe and INEOS has. But Steve said it to me this morning. We were having a chat, and I think it's a pretty fair description. The Glazers are just becoming like absentee landlords. No one likes the landlord. The landlord just sits there, earns money, doesn't do anything. You always resent them. But as long as stuff gets done, obviously, if you then need to change your boiler or do this and they actually don't do anything, then they're in a problem. But if there's no problem with your place, and there's a lot of problems with United, but that's just getting outsourced away from them. Not only are the football operations now outsourced away from the Glazers' control, like pretty much every aspect of Manchester United is. The Chief Financial Officer is now an INEOS former employee for the last 40 years. No, I don't mean Steve Housen. I mean Steve, who works with me on the scripting. Hey, look, and I know it makes perfect sense in the idea that the Glazers can just sit there, feet up, go, what you mean? We've actually got nothing to do and we'll make more money. And if it goes wrong, we can point the finger at the Glazers, at Ratcliffe and INEOS. All right, cool. Go on then. So in that sense, it does make sense. But I swear on my life, you will never see this setup in business sense, in terms of ownership, who's in control, like any other business of the size of Manchester United. And it's dead exciting, man. It really is. As I said, I think of the two of those appointments, the fact that we've got a new Chief Financial Officer who's been now placed by INEOS, that's basically their way of saying your finances are screwed, which we know they're screwed, all right? And there's a million other things that, maybe not a million, that's a bit of an exaggeration. There's quite a few other things that INEOS and Ratcliffe have been doing and getting involved in. Old Trafford regeneration, have taken complete control of that project. The audit that's going on behind the scenes. The credit cards that have been cancelled, the chauffeur cars that have been cancelled, the trip to Wembley, which has now been cancelled or restricted, bit by bit by bit. And I know what's coming next. What's coming next is probably what you're looking at, and I think the next one is going to be the one from a human perspective, which is going to hit Manchester United the hardest as a club, and that's a big cut of the staff. So Man United right now have got, in terms of the employees we've got about 1,100 employees. Biggest in England, and we're the biggest club in England, so it kind of makes sense when you say it like that. But I imagine there's probably going to be around 200 to 300 jobs that are cut. And these sorts of things happen when new owners come in. When a new owner comes into a place, everything gets checked. The 100-day audit, if you want to call it. But I think the thing I'm trying to get across here is, Gareth, you're saying it right down there. You feel that INEOS is going for full control quicker than we thought it would happen. I don't think it's specifically that. I think what is surprising me, and probably surprising a lot of us, is just how willing, I suppose, the Glazers have been to just properly take a back seat. There hasn't really been any kickback. Look, take it back to Omar Barada. The CEO is somebody who crosses finance and football. Well, commercial and football. He was put in by INEOS. Of course, there's no point talking about Dan Ashworth or Jason Wilcox because they're football guys. Right? So that was always underneath the remit of INEOS. But there's so much stuff that's happened that's outside what we thought was the remit of INEOS. And it's very, very exciting. In my opinion, anyway. I mean, I probably know more about this than anybody else, and I'm not sure it's particularly healthy. But I think it's just I know full well that true change can't happen at our club until this sort of stuff happens. I'm going to go down. There's a couple of super chats here, and I'll read some of your questions out. It's been a while since we mentioned the Glazers. Let's go wash my mouth out. A couple of super chats. Alex is saying, some of the Glazers must be supporting this, if not Joel and Avram. They just want their return on investment, even if no dividends for a few years. It needs to grow commercially. Dude, I'll be very, very surprised if anybody apart from Joel or Avram has really got that much involvement in this. And I'll kind of be surprised if there's... Obviously, Joel Glazer's released a statement on Patrick Stewart and Cliff Beattie being removed. Right? But I'd be surprised if they got the sign-off. Of course they've got the sign-off. They have majority control, but it feels like that's all they're doing. They're just signing off on decisions that INEOS are making, rather than... Previously, the Glazers kick back, ask, question, delay, argue. They're basically just saying yes to what INEOS are telling them. And that in itself is a massive change. And you're saying 1,100 jobs getting cut to 300? That seems a bit significant. I'd be amazed if Man United had the capability to run Old Trafford, to run what we need to run with 300 staff. I think that's a huge... I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 30, maybe even 30, 40% job cut, but to go from 1,100 to 300, what's that, 70%? 60? Just seems a bit much. Mo, you're saying, Sam, you need to make this a summarised video. I'm doing that at lunchtime today. Come on. I don't do anything else apart from talk about United, so I may as well get it done. But yeah, that is my lunchtime video. I'm going to cut this all down into 8 minutes, and I'm going to explain why genuinely I don't know how to phrase it, because INEOS, they're not in full control. But what are the Glazers doing now? The Glazers are just saying yes to what INEOS are telling them to do. Roger Bell coming in. Okay, right. New CFO. All right. Okay. Omar Barada, new CEO. INEOS have put in the CEO. INEOS have put in the CFO. Of course, they're in control of Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox. And ultimately, this is probably why a decision over Erik ten Hag is sort of, again, still being delayed. And this man in particular, from a short-term perspective, I'm very excited. And I'm going to pull you up this little clip from the video, which I did. I think is it my favourite deep dive? It might be the favourite deep dive because it was probably one of the first ones I did. But this little part here speaks about what Jean-Claude Blanc did when he went into Juve straight away. And then when he listened to it, you go, well, I can understand kind of maybe why he's been brought into Manchester United right now. At that time, he was responsible for marketing, revenue, sponsorships and costs. That was where he was going to help Juventus get through this period. And he did it. Between 2006 and 2009, he played a leading role in rebuilding their financial stability. He streamlined revenue streams, renegotiated player and business contracts in order to cut costs, and rebuilt the club's technical staff. After a couple of seasons, Juve were breaking even, whilst also having a significant amount of money to spend on players. Speaking about his time at the club, the Swiss Ramble said, although Blanc has attracted criticism for not being a football man, it has to be remembered that he took control of Juventus during the most turbulent period in the club's history. The meltdown on the pitch could easily have been accompanied by financial disaster off it, but Blanc and his team managed to steady the ship and restore confidence. And oh, what a lovely little pause there. Let me get that face off screen. Jean-Claude Blanc went in and helped Juve financially get their ducks in a row. Miles, you're saying down there he's our FFP navigator. It may well be what it is. But regardless of how good he is going to be better than Patrick Stewart, Patrick Stewart was the interim CEO equivalent of John Murtough becoming director of football, right? John Murtough was never director of football. He was promoted from within. Patrick Stewart was never a CEO. He was a chief legal counsel. And you go, who can I rely on? Go on, and you step in there temporarily. Now he's been pushed out. And INEOS were clearly not willing to wait for what was... So Blanc is going to be our CEO for 2.5 months. And INEOS didn't want to take that risk and keep Patrick Stewart in that. But now we've got... I mean, the amount of footballing minds we've got around this football club now, it's improving day after day. We've got Jason Wilcox in now. So I know so many of us are not upset, I'm going to cry about it, but frustrated that Dan Ashworth's not in as sporting director, right? But we've got now, day to day, we've got Dave Brailsford, who's been there since day one. You've got Jim Ratcliffe, who is going to be at the club today to speak about the next plans. You've got Jean-Claude Blanc in as an interim CEO, somebody who has been a CEO at Juventus, basically helped turn Paris into the PSG brand that they are now. He knows about modernising football clubs, and he also knows about stabilising football clubs who have financial problems. Seriously good to have him for 2.5 months. Ashworth is there on his burner phone anyway. Jason Wilcox is already in. Man, it's good. It's just really, really good. And, you know, and look, I did my video yesterday when I spoke about the clear out and reports from the Telegraph and the BBC on these changes that could be happening, right? And we've heard about clear outs before. And we're all looking at it going, really? Heard this one before. And then I would say, just look at what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to the structure. I'm going to run through an Athletic article in the lunchtime video, but Adam Crafton referred to it as a sort of Game of Thrones environment, was the turn of phrase that was used. And the reason Game of Thrones was so good was because you just didn't know who was going to die. Any character you loved, man, I will never forgive them for screwing up that last season. Arseholes. Anyway, but the reason it was so good, you could watch the series and you had no idea whether your favourite character was just going to get head chopped off. Anybody was game. And I think that's how INEOS are operating behind the scenes at Manchester United. Not in a Game of Thrones sort of fashion, but they're not messing about. They're not willing to sit there and wait for Patrick Stewart to be interim CEO for 2.5 months. Nah, mate. Out you go. Blanc, you come in 2.5 months. You do a much better job. Good. Although, interestingly, random little side point here, that now creates... Well, actually, and I suppose Jean-Claude Blanc he's director of sport at INEOS, but I don't think he's on the Nice board, because that could create more of a direct link between United and Nice as far as UEFA's rules go. Just a little separate one. Sam, don't charge yourself for copyright for showing that video. What video? I don't know what it was. Game of Thrones? Not doing that again. Anyway, I'm just excited by all of this. I mean, I'm excited because I'm seeing genuine change at our football club. More change than I think anybody would have thought possible at this point. And basically, right back from November time, right? Not there. Right back from November time. When was it that... Geez, I can't know. It was Christmas Eve. I've only just remembered that. Christmas Eve, when they finally announced the Ratcliffe and INEOS deal was... It wasn't ratified. It was the fact that it had gone through. And I mean, I think we had to wait. Was it Feb? Was it February when it got ratified? I can't remember the dates, man. I can't remember the dates. But today, Ratcliffe and Blanc are walking into Old Trafford, clipboard in hand, sitting there, right, ladies and gents. This is what's happened. This is what is going to happen. Accept it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. My lunchtime video, as I said, I'm going to summarize all of this down into a little 8-minute video so you can enjoy it. But I'm hoping that the same sort of genuine ruthlessness, we are seeing genuine ruthlessness when it comes to the executive at our club. Because who's gone so far? I've even written down the list earlier. We've got Richard Arnold as a CEO, he's gone. Patrick Stewart, who was interim CEO and legal counsel, he's gone. John Murto, who was director of football, he's gone. Cliff Beattie, who was chief financial officer, he's gone. Phil Lynch, who was a digital products CEO. Don't actually know what that role is, but he's gone as well. No one's safe. Hopefully they just feed Joel Glazer to the hounds. That's what I'd like to see. I'm going to go down and read some of your questions now. I said I was going to do that earlier, and then I just started talking again. Alex is saying, in all seriousness, I do feel sorry for the staff cuts. I felt sorry for the staff for a long time, man. Because throughout that whole takeover process, they didn't know what was going on with their job. If they had like a mortgage coming up, they're going to buy a house, they had no guarantees that in 6 months' time they would have a job to be able to pay the mortgage. And they had to deal with that for like 11 months. And then now at this point, this is what happens when mergers happen. This is what happens when new owners come in. Cuts happen. Jobs are cut. Sometimes. Typically, when new owners come in, it means that the business needs to be restructured, refined. And Man United have been hemorrhaging money left, right and centre for a long time. You know, it hasn't actually come out. But I wonder if the Glazers had the ability. I mean, I'm sure they would have had the ability. But would they have done it? I don't know. To pay for their flights to Wembley. They were there for a Coventry game. Well, Avram was. I don't know about Joel. Last season, Man United, the club, were charged for both times, League Cup and FA Cup final, cost us $500,000. I imagine Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are saying, you're not doing that. But I wonder if they have the ability and the power to do so. Because it basically seems like Ratcliffe and INEOS have just been tickling the Glazers' balls. And they like it. They're like, oh yeah, gone in. I couldn't have gone in from that approach. I would have just got in there and cut his head off. But I mean, I wouldn't do that. I wasn't. I was actually joking. YouTube. No, none of that. Don't ever go at me with that one. But I would not have been as polite with the Glazers as Ratcliffe has been. But it seems like his schmoozy approach has worked. He's really gained the trust of the Glazers to the point where they're giving him the keys to every part of the club, despite only having 27% control. As I said, I'd be amazed if you found this business set up in another business of Manchester United size. I really, really would. It's exciting though. I think exciting might be the wrong word, but it's great to finally be speaking about like true, genuine change at our club. Now, look, I do think we're going to struggle to reach 400,000 during this live show. But if you are new here, please do make sure you subscribe to United People's TV. We're trying to hit 400,000. And it'll be awesome to be able to do it on a live show here together. So we can have a little party and a celebration. So if you are new, make sure you do subscribe. If not, well, you can't do anything. Right, let's go on to the next talking point. There's quite a few people talking about this. Right. Alex, yeah. It is progress. Fat Thor saying, Sam, are you cool with the Glazers running the commercial side of the club? I think that's the next thing, man. You got INEOS have now got the chief financial officer in. The chief operating officer, Colette Roche, who's been doing quite a lot of stuff with the Old Trafford research for the regeneration. I think she's leading a lot on that. The CEO is now Omar Barada. And until it's Omar Barada, it's Jean-Claude Blanc. And ultimately, the CEO is going to be who is leading these commercial conversations. So ultimately, INEOS already are leading the commercial sort of stuff. It's their people in the positions of power that take those responsibilities. The Glazers will have the ultimate sign-off, but I very much doubt they're going to be involved in the negotiations part of things, in the sitting down in the meetings. I already think they're just like, what do you want to call them? Silent investors. It's crazy. Anyway, Bruno Fernandes. Lots and lots of talk about this interview that came out yesterday, right? Bruno, I think he was speaking to, was it DAZN in Portugal? And he said, if you want me to be very honest, if I have to think about not continuing in the Premier League, it won't be until after the Euros, because nothing will be able to take my focus away from the FA Cup final and the Euros, as there's nothing more important than that at the moment. And people are like, oh, Bruno exit hint. Bruno saying he might leave Man United. And I'm like, well, why don't we just go and look at the quote that happened before it? Okay. He said, I'm not thinking about other things at the moment. Obviously, it doesn't just depend on me. A player always has to want to be here, but at the same time, you have to want him to stay. And at the moment, I feel there's that on both sides. Bruno doesn't want to leave. Man United don't want Bruno to leave. Bruno's going nowhere, right? I'm telling you that if INEOS have put Mainu, Garnacho, and Højlund as 3 untouchables, I'm putting Bruno as one of the untouchables. He's not going anywhere. I think, truth be told, let's fast forward a year. I think there's a conversation to be had around Bruno Fernandes because he'll be reaching 30. I think he'll have 1 more year left on his contract and we'll be in the position where we go, well, what do we do next? Do we give Bruno another 3-year contract? Do we think about replacing Bruno? That's a next year conversation. I don't care. Lee, you saying, oh, he'll be 31 at the end of the contract, we'll get nothing from him. Bruno is so important to this team. He has to stay. I can't imagine, like, do you know how tough this summer is already? And there are some United fans that honestly, genuinely would really argue with chest that we should try and replace Bruno at the same time. And it's just like, you have no idea how hard this summer is going to be, do you? Because that is not an opinion that I think is based in reality. That is an opinion that's based in Football Manager or FIFA. We already need 2 centre-backs, a left-back, a central midfielder, a striker. In an ideal world, you'd probably get a right winger as well. You then want to replace our captain. And that player, Bruno, whose numbers, right, are just silly. Consistently have been silly. He's got 5 games left this season. And if he gets 4 goals or assists in those 5 games, he's got 30 goal contributions this season. Bruno Fernandes for Man United this season, right? Most goals or assists, most goals, most assists, most shots on target, most chances created, most high turnovers, most possession won in the final third, most possession won in the middle third, most successful final third passes, most successful passes into the final third, most successful passes into the opposition's half, and most successful passes into the opposition's box. Most through balls, most flick-ons, most layoffs, most crosses, most duels. And a heat map, which is just ridiculous. I'm going to be doing one of my little mini documentary videos on Bruno Fernandes next week. I absolutely love the bloke. And I genuinely think loves Man United. Loves being at Man United. And I don't think Man United will be pushing him out in any way, shape or form. Nor do I think he will be running out the door. I really hope, really hope that Man United win the Premier League or the Champions League before Bruno leaves. I'd love to see that. I would love to see him lift it for all the graft and work that he's put in. I think, unfortunately, so far in a Manchester United shirt, the best of Bruno has been stopping Manchester United from sinking any further. Rather than the best of Bruno leading to Manchester United winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League. I know it's a tall order. It's a massive order. And it's probably unlikely. But when he came in that January, I've already recorded the video. It's going to be coming out at some point. I wish that before he leaves, his graft actually turns into Man United winning something rather than Man United not just being 10 times worse than they are. A couple of super chats there, and I'll read out some of your comments. See these. And you're saying replacing Bruno alone would cost upwards of 100 mil. Well, we spoke about Florian Wirtz the other day. It's players of that ilk. Man, they're the game changers. The absolute game changers. Your Kevin De Bruyne's, your Martin Odegaard. Yeah, I don't know how much it would cost. It would cost a significant amount of dough. Why is somebody ringing me from Edinburgh? And answering that. Jason, Bruno's a machine, never injured. Could probably play at the peak until 35. I mean, I would say yes, given his injury record. I would say absolutely not, given how he plays football. Some footballers, they can just kind of, their game isn't reliant on pace, or their game isn't reliant on relentless energy like Bruno Fernandes. So, yeah, right. He could probably play to their 35. With Bruno, he's just like full tilt. He's like a Duracell, I don't know, bunny, 24/7 in a game. Which makes it all the crazier that he hasn't missed a game. I'll reiterate this stat that's going out in the video. So over 500 club appearances. And he's never missed a game through injury. The only time he missed the game was because he had the flu for a couple of weeks. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Ron saying, what about all the back chat Bruno gives to the refs? Not good discipline advice for the young'uns. And Ron, that I think is, in my opinion, is one of the only things you can really criticise Bruno for fairly. Is that attitude when things are going against him, it's like he's personally offended. When things are going against him, it affects what his next decision is. Because it lingers a little bit too long. The emotions of Bruno are probably the thing that is so important for him, but also it can become a little bit too much for him and then work conversely against him. I personally think that's the only criticism that is fair on Bruno. And people use that and slap him with it 24/7. So I will always defend Bruno, man. Always. I'll go to war for him, for sure. I actually wouldn't go to war for him. Wouldn't go to war for anyone. Don't really like war. Like Bruno though. Somebody else who I like. Now this is an interesting one, right? So this video came out yesterday, right? Lisandro Martinez back in training. And everyone gets excited, of course, because Martinez has missed, the entire bloody season for injury? Feels like it anyway. And then Sky Sports News took the video down, which was a bit weird. They did a tweet saying Martinez and Rashford were back in training, and then the videos disappeared. So I don't know whether that's an old video that they've accidentally used, or whether it's just not been reported anywhere else. But all I'm asking for, I don't ask for much, right? I don't ask for much. All I'm asking for is for Martinez to be managed, to come back into the FA Cup final, to put in a 10 out of 10 performance and for United to win against the odds. That's all I'm asking. I don't ask so much. But yeah, truth be told, Martinez, give him 2 minutes against Crystal Palace. Give him 7 minutes against New. Really slowly, softly introduce him into these last 4 games of the season with pure focus on him playing that FA Cup final. If I see him starting any one of these games, I'm going to do absolutely nothing because I can't. I'm going to moan about it, though. Someone said they like the hoodie. I love this design, man. Yeah. It's one of the new merch designs, but it won't be this hoodie. We've got a brand new hoodie. Again, this is just me testing all the samples out. I swear to God. I'm going to have to do some giveaways, I think. I've got so many examples of hoodies and T-shirts, which won't ever be sold in the way that I've got them here. So they're unique. Yeah, I might do some giveaway stuff. Look at that. We've got 150 subs. I hope we don't reach it before tomorrow morning because I'd love to do it live on the show with you all. But yeah. Jason, the hoodies are coming, man. And when these hoodies come, you're going to be like, yeah, fair enough, Sam. Understood. Understand now why you waited. Understood it. Now, I'm going to wrap this show up by last couple of minutes. You can fire in your questions and comments. But I'm very excited by these changes that continue to happen at our football club. In my opinion, it's the full takeover of Manchester United is already happening. Has been happening basically since February, and it's only gathering pace. And INEOS and Ratcliffe are not just in control of football operations anymore. They really, really aren't. They're in control of a whole lot more at our football club, and that is why I'm excited. Richard, I'm not telling you what the weight of the hoodies are. You can all wait to see the actual details, but these are the sorts of things that I've been doing a lot of stuff on. Alex saying, who starts a right wing against Palace? I want to talk about United playing football. At least you get to enjoy the bank holiday weekend, though. Eh? 3 days, not getting ruined by United. It's probably going to piss it down for the full 3 days. Naturally, that's what happens on bank holiday weekends here in England. It always rains. I'm not playing the map song, Tony, because it's not Friday. Although, yeah. What I'm going to be trying to do is getting a new map song for every Friday. Different genre, different beat, different flavour. Maybe I'll get Kendrick Lamar's diss track. I won't. How many players do you think we signed this summer, says Zach? I saw a report suggesting yesterday that United would go for 3, and I think that's pretty much the main... That's been consistent at United. 3 major signings per summer, and then supplementary ones on top of that. I don't know what they consider a major signing or not. Over a certain price? I don't know. I have no idea. But look, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I enjoyed that show, and I hope you've learned a thing or two. And make sure you check out my lunchtime video. I'll be summarizing all of this in little 8-minute BAM info pack video so you can properly understand what these changes mean and what's going to be coming next. And hopefully the same sort of energy when it comes to player changes that we've seen with executive changes behind the scenes. Very exciting. Big up to all of you. Thank you to Gungshi. Thank you to Miles for gifting 50 memberships. Thank you to everybody. Much love. I'll see you in the morning. And it's nice when just the software works. Why can't I just do this every day? I don't get it.